Hello, everyone, and welcome to Come Back to Love. We are on KMET Radio, and I am here every Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And this is Come Back to Love on KMET. I am Robyn Vogel. I am a psychotherapist, a love and intimacy coach, and the author of the new book, Come Back to Love, A Path to Healing. That was published earlier this year by Kohler Books, and you can find it anywhere that you buy books online. For over 20 years, I've been helping people do what I had to learn to do myself: heal the past, heal my heart, understand the patterns that were created because of past trauma, and create the kind of love for myself that was real, and create love in the world that I was so desiring after all of those years of healing. Not the love that looks good on paper, not the love that feels like a roller coaster that you just can't get off, but the love that feels like, finally, this is what I have been yearning for. Welcome to my new radio show, Come Back to Love. And again, we are live on KMET every Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific and 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You can also listen to this show on all podcast platforms. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today, our topic is Beyond Divorce. Beyond Divorce. The work that I do is supporting anyone who has gone through a major life transition, whether that be a heartbreak or a loss, divorce, separation, even just a major life transition that you're in, like a new identity. Sometimes people go through what we might call a midlife crisis or a midlife, I'd like to call it a midlife transition. And when that happens, there are sometimes unforeseeable losses that come to the surface. So although today's topic is Beyond Divorce, if you haven't been divorced, but you've had a major loss or, again, a major heartbreak or transition in your life, this show is for you today. So as we begin to dive into this topic of Beyond Divorce, we're actually going to look at, let me say this first, we're going to look at identity. We're going to look at how, as humans, we sometimes hold on to things unnecessarily. We over-identify with our pasts, and this keeps us stuck. Stuck even though you might be doing therapy, even though you've done tons of coaching, even though you've spent thousands of dollars, if you have, even though you've cried your eyes out a million times to your friends, even though it's been years, all these reasons, we can still be really stuck in the past. And some people ask me, so I want to address this first, like, how do I know that I'm stuck? Like, how do I know that I'm not moving forward? Seems like I am. I've done a lot of work. I have a new relationship, but it's not so great. It really resembles the past. Again, I feel like I'm repeating a pattern. Well, stop right there. That is the way to know that you're stuck in the past. Sometimes you're not moving forward, and you're just aware that I'm not moving forward in life, in work, in relationship, maybe in your health and well-being. Sometimes you do notice that you're repeating patterns over and over again. You keep attracting the same kind of person. You keep having short relationships and ending them. Or maybe you have a couple of years of relationship and then they're over. And you're just frustrated and confused and stuck. Sometimes people say, my heart isn't open. I just don't feel like my heart is open. If you notice that about yourself, for one thing, I want to congratulate you, because for some people that's hard to recognize. But when you notice that your heart isn't open, then that is something to, on the one hand, celebrate, because you're aware and you're noticing something about yourself. That's really important. So the work of Come Back to Love is about healing the past, healing the heartbreaks, learning how to stop repeating patterns and really create what you want in your life, create something new, create yourself anew, become somebody who has moved beyond and is ready for, again, love in the way that you define it. Because For me, the work is about coming back to love with yourself and looking at that on all the levels, emotional, mental, spiritual, embodied. But you get to then define what you want to do with that love, whether you want to be in a relationship or you don't want to be in a relationship. That's up to you. So I'm tuning in right now from hot and humid Boston, Massachusetts. I'm curious how it is where you are when you're listening to this. Please feel free to shoot me an email anytime, Robyn, ROBYN, at comebacktolove.com. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know how you're enjoying the show. Please suggest topics that you would like me to address. I have a long list after 25 years of doing this work. And still, I am open, of course, to hearing what topics you would like me to address on this radio show. So please do feel free to be in touch anytime. And you can always find me at comebacktolove.com. Okay, so on to the topic of beyond divorce. I want to take a moment to invite you to begin noticing something. When you think about what you've been through, again, whether it's divorce, separation, the unraveling of a life that you built, what words come up? How do you refer to your own experience when you talk to friends, when you talk to perhaps a therapist, or when you're talking to yourself at 2 a.m? I'm guessing you say, my divorce, my failed marriage, my heartbreak. I did too. Before I understood what that language was quietly doing to me, I said that exact thing. And what we know is that when you say my, you're identifying with exactly your experience with the crisis, with the trauma, with the heartbreak. And it stays in the body and it creates your life. We're going to go into this more deeply. So I want to name one thing about what this time together is about. It's not about rushing you out of grief or telling you to just move on and stop saying the word my divorce. It's really about something more subtle and more powerful than that. And I know you're listening to me on the radio or on podcast. If you have a moment to pause what you're doing, to take out your journal, take out a pen, I really invite you to take some notes, but also to follow along and do some journaling and do some writing about this topic. It's really, really important because language creates identity and identity creates reality. And if you're somebody right now who's listening in who feels like I am not living the life I want to be living, I do not have the love in my life that I want, I do not have the partner in my life that I want, or I haven't even finished moving through this divorce and it's driving me absolutely crazy, keep listening. We use the word my very carefully in life. My child, my home, my body. When we say my, we are claiming ownership. We are saying this is part of me. When we say my divorce over and over, we are, without realizing it, making the divorce part of who we are, ongoing. Now, we do have, of course, an experience of acute grief when there's been a loss, any kind of loss. And then there's processing that hopefully we have time and space to do. And then there's healing, which again, hopefully you've had time and space to do, but if not yet, then just recognize, where are you in the process? Are you in acute grief? Are you in initial processing? Or are you in healing? Or the next phase, which is the stuck place. We've got 5 phases here that I just want to name again. Acute grief, phase 1. Phase 2, processing, the early sort of starting to realize what actually happened. There can be a lot of shock and a lot of disillusionment. Step 3, phase 3, healing. Phase 4, the stuck place. Phase 5, becoming. So most people probably are somewhere between healing and the stuck place. We've done a lot of real work, but still somehow things aren't moving. You're still identifying with divorce. It is part of your perception, it's part of your identification. You see yourself as someone who has failed at love. So you unconsciously look for evidence that confirms it. It shapes your choices. You stay smaller, you don't put yourself out there, you protect yourself from another divorce or another loss rather than opening up to something new. It becomes your story with new people that you meet. The divorce becomes chapter 1 of how you introduce yourself, and it colors everything that follows. So without judgment, just take a moment, tune into yourself, and ask yourself, where do you feel you are on that spectrum right now? What phase are you in? What phase are you in? Acute grief, processing, healing, stuck, or becoming something new? That you'd have a breath with me. And because you're just listening to me on the radio, you just get to do this privately. You're welcome to share. Obviously, you're welcome to share with me, welcome to share with, your trusted people in your life, but just acknowledge to yourself with some humbleness and some honesty about where you are in your life. And just let that be, again, without judgment. So healing is very different than becoming, right? Healing is so important. It's obviously a big part of the work that I do. But they're two very different journeys. Most people, in some ways, know how to heal. We talk a lot about healing in our culture, especially in our Western culture. We speak about it in a very specific way. We're very attached and connected with psychotherapy and other healing modalities. But the concept of becoming is something different. Healing is necessary, absolutely necessary. I want to be clear about that. Understanding what happened, grieving what was lost, making sense of the past, that work has to happen. If you haven't done that yet, I invite you to consider doing it and think about how you want to do it. But healing is looking backward. It's asking, what happened to me? Why did it go wrong? What was my part? What was theirs? Becoming is something different. Becoming looks forward. It asks, who am I now that I have been through this? What do I actually want? Not what I thought I wanted before, or what my family told me I should want, or what the culture tells me I should want, but what I want now, from this wiser, more honest place. And then you might ask yourself, what do I need to release in order to step into that? I'm going to ask those questions again so that you really get them. And also, if you're writing them down, you can write them down again, or clarify what you've written down. Who am I now that I've been through this? You can fill in the blank, right? Who am I now that I've gotten through the divorce? Or who am I now that I am used to being perhaps a widow or a widower? Who am I now that I've reached the age of 60 and I'm making a big transition in my life or my career? What do I actually want? Again, not what I thought I wanted, but what do I want now from this wiser, more honest, more open, more mature place? What do I need to release in order to step into that? You can be fully healed and still not ready. And you can be not fully healed and still be becoming. They're not really a sequence. They're actually two different questions. So they are different phases, but it doesn't have to be that one absolutely precedes the next. Readiness isn't a feeling that arrives one day. It's a choice you make. Usually before you feel completely ready, I hear this often with my clients and workshop participants. I often will hear them say, I'm ready. I'm getting ready. I'm almost ready. It's like we want to say we're ready, and we're not always completely ready, and that's okay. But let's say it again. It's a choice you make, and often it's usually just before you're completely ready, and that's okay because saying the words actually helps you in the becoming ready. It's the decision to stop organizing your life around what happened in the past and start organizing it around what's possible. What's possible now, what's possible in the future. So what would it mean for you personally to feel ready? Not like I'm healed and I feel all healed and tucked in. And no, just what would it mean to you personally to feel ready? What's the difference in your body between these two words? Let's take that piece. So here I invite you to have a breath with me again. Deep breath into the nose. Exhale through the mouth, maybe a sound or a sigh like I just did. And I want you to take a moment to feel these words in your body. Feel the word healing. And just notice where that lands in your body. Notice how it feels. And if you happen to have a journal, just write that down. Feel the word ready. Or you might try, I am ready for, and fill in the blank. I am ready to love myself more. I am ready to allow myself to grieve. I am ready for new love. Wherever you are in your journey, it's exactly the place that you're supposed to be right now. No right, no wrong, no good, no bad. I am becoming. Feel the word becoming in your body. That has a whole different energy to it. And if you're not in the phase of becoming yet, just notice how it feels light and know that you'll get there. And that's an exciting thing to consider that's coming down the path for you. Okay. So I want to do something practical right now, not just talk about it, but actually begin to do this shifting into becoming and readiness so that you have a feeling. It's a really simple exercise, but don't let the simplicity fool you. What we're going to do is interrupt a pattern that may have been running for years. And that interruption, even once, even briefly, right here, right now, creates a new possibility for you. So I want to invite you to think about a story in your mind, or if you're writing, please do write down. I am someone who, fill in the blank. I am someone who, and if you're just listening to me on the radio, whatever pops into your mind, I am someone who. Maybe you're driving your car and you're listening to the radio right now and you're on KMET, Come Back to Love Radio, and you're like, I am someone who. And let whatever comes up about the divorce or heartbreak, let it come up. Don't edit. Just notice what your identity currently says about you in love. And let that be with you for a moment. Let yourself be with the words that come up. Again, without judgment, without filtering. And now notice, how does that sentence feel in your body? Where do you feel it? Do you feel it in your heart? Do you feel it in your belly? Do you feel it in your shoulders? Does it feel heavy, tight? Does it feel familiar? That feeling is the identity that is living inside you and creating your reality. Because your identity, remember, creates your reality. Now, I want to invite you to try something. I want to invite you to place one hand on your heart, if you can in this moment. Take a breath and complete this sentence instead. I am someone who is becoming, fill in the blank. Again, not who you were, not who you're healing from, not what you're healing from, not how you're healing, just who you are becoming. Let yourself reach for it, even if it feels unfamiliar. Actually, especially if it feels unfamiliar. I am someone who is becoming. Now notice what came up. For some of you, it'll feel hopeful and helpful. For some, it might feel scary. For some, it might feel unbelievable, like you're just making it up. And all of that is completely normal. The discomfort that you're feeling is rewiring that's actually happening. Now I want to take a pause for a moment here just and go to the concept of rewiring. There's a lot of talk about rewiring these days, and for good reason. Rewiring, first of all, wiring, let's start there, is about how your brain has been holding and processing what's happened in your life over the years. And as a result of, let's say, a trauma that has happened in your life, you make decisions about life. You create behaviors, you create thoughts, and they get wired in. And they stick with you. And sometimes we don't even notice them. They just stick with you. They become your truth. They become your reality. I don't have enough money. I'm never going to have a partner. I'm not going to have love like that. My job is just okay. I'm not one who's going to have a really amazing job and be, famous and make lots of money. Or, we just sit with these limiting beliefs and they're stuck. This process and the work that I do in Come Back to Love is deep, deep rewiring. As I said, this is a simple exercise, moving from I am someone who to I am someone who is becoming. It may seem really simple, but it's a deep rewiring. Because if you put that on the chalkboard in your kitchen or on the bulletin board in your office or on a little sticky right next to your computer at your desk or in your car or on the mirror where you brush your teeth, I am someone who is becoming, your body, your mind, your energy, all reorganize around this present and future experience of who you're becoming. So again, notice what came up for you, notice what you feel in your body, and make this declaration. Share it. Share it in the ways that I just described. Share it with your partner if you have one. Share it with your friends. Share it with your children. Most importantly, share it with yourself. I am someone who is becoming. The topic for today has been beyond divorce. And basically we've been talking about how to let go of the identity of divorce or other kinds of loss that we continue to reference and live with until we stop, until we pause and we say, there's grief, there's processing, there's healing, all extremely important, and there's a place of stuckness that can show up, and then there's becoming. Again, as I said, not so linear, but all very important and distinct phases to really understand the process that you are in, where you're in, what phase you're in, and looking towards releasing the identity with my divorce, my loss, my this, my that. And again, I was doing that incessantly until I realized that I was holding on to things that I absolutely did not want to or need to hold on to, and couldn't really move forward without letting them go and shifting. So what you just did, that small shift, I am someone who is becoming, that is an entirely new journey. It might seem micro and small, but it's big. And the work that you're doing, and you do it again and again in bigger and bigger ways until the new story is more real to you than the old one. Make sense? I hope so. And if not, just again, shoot me an email. Robyn, ROBYN, @comebacktolove.com. This has been the third episode of Come Back to Love, and I'm so glad that we've been here together. If something stirred in you today, if you felt something open or recognized yourself in what we explored, I want you to know that you don't have to figure this out alone. I offer a 30-minute private conversation, just the two of us, no agenda, no sales pitch, just a conversation. Click book your free 30 minutes on my website. That's easy to find at comebacktolove.com. And if you're not ready for a private conversation, that's fine too. Come back next week. Come back either way next week. Next Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on KMET Radio. Again, this show is called Come Back to Love because I believe with everything in me that love is not something you find. It's something you return to. It's already in you. It's already been in you. We're just finding our way back. I'm Robyn Vogel. Be gentle with yourself. Love is possible, and it starts with coming back to you. Have a beautiful day, everyone.